like to thank the League of Women Voters, Mr. Torres, visitors in the audience, and those watching on TV this evening for providing me with the opportunity to participate in this debate. Health insurance is an ongoing problem. Our health rates have increased as much as 18% over a number of years. The past couple of years we've managed to contain some of it, and then last year we made this current fiscal year we made changes in the plan design to increase the co-pays, and as a result made a significant savings. Well, one of the things you can't do is to continually modify the plan such that the co-pays go up and up and up, and the benefits to the employees go down, down, and down. So I think we have to strike a balance, and one of the things we could do as a result of making further changes in the benefit plan would be to offer some plan for health savings accounts, create a fund to provide payment to those employees that may exceed some level to maintain, to keep them, out of severe increase in their costs, while at the same time providing adequate savings for the community. I think it's kind of hard to say where health insurance is going in the future also, because the
Oh, I'm sorry.
federal government has...
I think we're going to have to ask you to stop.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Okay.
You can't read them.
I didn't.
No, okay.
No, it's all right.
Now I know where to look.
It's okay, it's okay, we can see them.
Okay. And Mr. Vino, you have 2 minutes, and I'll
Yes,
pay a
thank
little
you.
more attention.
Yes, thank you. I also want to thank the League of Women Voters, Mr. Torres, and all you ladies and gentlemen who've come down tonight, and in the viewing public also. Healthcare is a rising cost to everybody. It's not just to the town, it's to everybody. What I would like to see happen is more bargaining with the unions and the non-unions. This has been successful. This was successful last year. They were able to bargain in some changes. There is also more things that can be bargained in that can save money without having an adverse effect on the employees. There's been a lot of talk of GIC. I do not support GIC, and I will tell you why. I have spoke to several members on GIC, and they do not like it. Their costs have risen dramatically, and they've lost benefits. And I don't know if any of you ladies and gentlemen heard Jeff Beckwith on the radio about 2 months ago. He is the executive director of the Mass Municipal Association. He warned the cities and towns they could see a 44% increase going to GIC. So that actually is totally reverse of what everyone thought it could do. In some cases, I'm sure it does save money. But we have to be very careful, and this is why I've been opposed to GIC, because we do not know yet what it actually will do. It's too new to change. But what I would say is that we negotiate with the unions, fair negotiations, and we try to get the unions to agree, which they have. The unions do understand. The employees do understand the situation that we're in, and they are willing to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Prisco,
Thank
2
you.
minutes.
And also thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here tonight to participate in this event. I really do appreciate it. In regards to healthcare and controlling the healthcare costs, this is nothing new for this town. I've lived here for 7 years, and every year it becomes an issue. I'm a member of the FAC, also the chairman of the Physical Advisory Committee, and we did study healthcare and how do we control it. Well, there's a thing called the Health Plan Design Authority. It was actually discussed here in this room with our current selectmen. You know, healthcare, Health Plan Design Authority is something that this town actually really does need. It actually puts to control an ability for this board to manage. to try to work in the current environment we have today and try to control healthcare and letting the state dictate that and letting the unions dictate that, I don't think is going to work because it hasn't worked yet. So I do disagree with one of my running mates here, but I have to say, I was a little upset. If you were here that night when they talked about health plan design, it was a 3-2 vote. If we don't support our legislation on this bill up at the State House as fully, a 5-0 vote, to me, that is probably the disservice you're doing to the employees because you're not helping them, okay? By doing this, this actually helps our employees. We're able to actually save them money, including saving the town money.
Okay. And Mr. Screamer, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me here tonight. As far as healthcare costs are concerned, I believe that these are going to continue to escalate. And in order for these towns and these municipalities to keep these costs under control, I believe, as Mr. Vino had mentioned, that they're going to have to bargain with the union and the non-union employees to kick in a bit more on their payments. I know in some municipalities, the towns are paying upwards of 90% of the health care costs and the employee is kicking in 10%. I think it needs to be more along the lines of a 25% to 75% split between employee and employer. Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Mosseri, would you like to add anything? You have another minute
Yes,
if you'd like.
I would, with respect to what Mike referred to a minute ago, I was one of the board members that voted in support of the legislation that would allow the board to do plan design. I think that, you know, bargaining with the unions is difficult. They're generally looking for something to trade, and in this case, and I think Mike said it very well, that we could create a plan on our own, present it to the employees, and at the same time save money for them.
Okay. Mr. Vino, another
Yeah,
minute?
yes, I would, please. Yes, I was one of the members who was opposed to it. I believe I stated earlier, one of my reasons is the executive director of the MMA said, be very cautious. It could raise your cost of health insurance in your city or town up to 44%. There's just not enough known about this yet. And I think the key word here is bargaining. Once the control is given totally to a board, there's no more bargaining. It's now you'll do exactly what they say. And I just don't think that's right to do that.
And Mr. Prisco, another moment, another minute?
Thank you. We've been bargaining in this town for years. It's not something new. It's, you know, getting to the bargaining table is what we do. It hasn't worked. You know, if we keep on doing the same thing over and over, inspecting different results, that's called insanity. That's truly the definition of insanity. We have to get serious. This is a big issue. This is all about the structural deficit, and this is a key. The Health Plan Design Authority is something I encourage you all to look into and support this board, ask this board to go forward with that. Because a 3-2 vote only hurts this town. It does not, and it especially hurts our employees.
And Mr. Screamer, 1 more minute?
Yeah, I think that particularly with the retirees, the town retirees, instead of the town carrying the burden of insuring these people while they're retired, they should look into maybe funneling these retirees into the Medicare system and to free up some money that way.
Okay, thank you. So the next question's going to go to Mr. Vino first, and that question is, what do you think is the one major issue facing North Reading right now?
Well, the quick answer on that is the budget. That is the quick answer. We are all, we're all dealing with reduced monies due to Proposition 2.5. But there's, so if you said what is the major issue, it would be the budget. But that does fold out into a number of things. We have schooling for the children, housing for schooling. We have wastewater management. plans we would like to see go into effect. Again, though, it all does relate back to the budget. There's a number of things that I would like to see done for senior citizens in the town, because the senior citizens are the people who built the foundation of this town. But again, it really all reverts back to the budget.
Mr. Prisco, major issue? 2 minutes.
I believe that the number one issue that really affects our town is the lack of a strategic plan to really keep us focused on the long-term health of our town, financial health of our town. Yeah, I hear a lot about budgets, but guess what? Every year we have a budget challenge, and the reason is because nobody's looking forward. No one's looking past FY 2010 or 2011. How do we pay for those bills going forward? We have over $30 million unfunded liability on this town, and there's no plan to pay for it. That unfunded liability, that's all the retirees. That's all the current employees' retirements, okay? It's unfair we have no plan how to fund that. And then, you know, you're gonna hear about wastewater tonight, because I know it's coming. But if we need to have a strategic plan that talks about that, how do we fund it? How do we implement it? We've been kicking that can down the road for as long as I lived here. You need a strategic plan. This board needs to be focused on a strategic plan. We don't need to be focused on dog barking. We don't need to be focused on plowing sidewalks. We need to be focusing on those kinds of things. To me, that's the number one issue missing in our town.
Okay. And Mr. Screamer, the major issue.
Yeah, I think one of the major issues for this town right now is its ability to raise money. And, you know, I've lived here in the town for 6 years. My family has been here for 25 years. And I haven't really seen the cultivation of the business sector in this town. We have a beautiful stretch of road between Park Street all the way up to Andover. And I think that the Board of Selectmen, through the Chamber of Commerce, has to really start shaking some trees and try to attract some businesses in here to create jobs and also to create a better tax base for the town.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Mosseri, you have 2 minutes. And then
I
we'll-
would summarize it in the form of insufficient revenues to fund our existing services. Schools and general government services over the past few years have been cut or minimized as a result of insufficient revenues. Now, looking ahead, how do we solve the problem? We need to attract and build a commercial tax base in this town. And the barriers that are in front of us are providing ample sewerage for the Route 128 and Concord Street corridors. And without that sewerage, the kind of business that we attract are those businesses that do not rely on water and sewer to any great extent. An example of that, if we go back many, many years ago, the development of Concord Street with the trucking industry. That's valuable property, and those trucks would go rather quickly if there were sewers on Concord Street. So I plan to focus on getting the wastewater system in place over the next 3 years.
And Mr. Vino, you have another minute if you'd like to add anything.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
No, I would. You know, part of that strategic plan that I talked about earlier, obviously the key, and there is no easy answer, but there is a simple answer. And that simple answer has actually been addressed here a little bit already. The secret is building that industrial base, and you can't do that without a strategic plan. And you have heard about the wonderful commercial properties we have throughout the town. But we need to have the strategic plan, incorporates marketing our town as a viable place for new businesses to come, because that's the only place we're gonna get new money to support our seniors, the new money to fix the third meeting house up in the middle of town where the seniors meet. You know, if we do care about them, then we need to have this plan. We need to help fund and fix those things that we haven't been able to touch for a long time.
Mr. Screamer, would you like to say anything else?
Just quickly, I think